Welcome, guys. This is a podcast episode with Japan camera hunter Bellamy Hunt.
Good to see you.
It's been a long time that we've known each other.
Yeah.
But you've been in the industry for even longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the first time we ever contacted you.
Yeah. Vaguely.
So we were at the point where we were thinking of like ordering Japanese film because there was fancy Japanese film that wasn't available in Europe.
Yeah.
And then our order would have been something like 50 rolls, like 10 Venuses and 10.
It wasn't worth it.
Yeah. So that's life has changed a lot since then.
Yeah, I remember when you had this tiny store, and it was just a handful of guys. And now look at you.
Yeah. But I wanted to kind of do a little podcast episode. I was thinking of headlining this. Don't go like. I don't mean it like.
Yeah, sure.
The headline I was thinking would be Japan Camera Hunter: The Rise and Fall and Rise Again.
Yeah. There was a bit of a blip. There was a bit of a blip in there.
I think let's get to that, but let's go to the first rise.
Yeah.
And I think you started the blog somewhere in around 2010.
Yeah, it was around late 2010, 2011. And 2011 was when I went full time.
Yeah, and that was at that time the social media landscape was almost non-existent.
Yeah,
Facebook was there.
Yeah,
but everything else wasn't there.
Instagram was there, but there was very few people. So I knew a guy. A lot of people probably know Dan Rubin.
Yeah.
And he was on Instagram, and he kind of said, "You should be on Instagram," and okay, what's that? So I got onto that early.
Mm-hmm.
And back then it was also Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter was actually quite a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Before
in Japan or
worldwide, but in Japan it was a thing, and that was before it got a bit. Weird.
Yeah.
And back then, social media was such a different landscape. It was a lot more friendly.
Yeah.
People were open to engagement. So Instagram was the one that really kind of drove things.
Yeah.
And it blew up way faster than I expected. Like, I went from having a few thousand followers to tens of thousands to over 100,000 very quickly.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit, I wasn't prepared for it, I think.
Yeah, and I think like your blog and the In Your Bag series was already kind of a prequel to social media. With Google SEO, kind of it blew up globally because I guess the In Your Bag also made people share it in local communities, local forums.
So when I first started the site, I realized I needed traffic.
Yeah.
And I didn't just need traffic in terms of coming to buy a camera or a lens. I needed people to come to the website and interact, and they would then go on to buy a camera or lens or something. That was my thinking, And so I had taken a photo of my bag. I'd taken a photo of my bag and I put the stuff on there, put the stuff on the ground. And people went, "Yeah, that's cool." And they sent me their bags. I thought, well, let's make this a thing. Let's make this a community thing. And it rapidly became very, very, very popular. I was posting a bag every single day.
Yeah.
Every day I was posting.
Did you share them also on the socials?
Yeah, so it went on social media. It went on Facebook. It went on Google Plus.
Google Plus, yes.
And things like that. So they went on there, and people loved having the interaction and sharing. And so from In Your Bag, I also started doing Show Us Your Film or Show Us Your Fridge. And I started doing like Get Featured so people could show their work. Because In Your Bag was just focused on the gear.
Yeah.
But people were like, "I want to show my work." I was like, "Well, yeah, submit." I really wanted the website to be interactive between the community. And it wasn't just a case of selling. You could just come on and look. So that was, I guess, as you say, the prequel to social media, and it gave a strong SEO. It gave had so many visitors, and film news, and then camera geekery.
Yeah, and of course, just so much of the film for the world then revolved also around Fujifilm, and then they were doing only Japanese, news, and then there was also being a bridge between Japan and the rest
film
of the
news, I
world.
think, was one of the ones also that really sort of blew up. And I was doing, film news back in 2013.
Yeah.
And I was saying, by the way, Kodak's done this, and Fujifilm's done this, and Polaroid's going out of business, and doing film news. I mean, segueing off here, but doing film news was what inspired me to make StreetPan.
Okay.
Because all the news I was getting was bad news.
Yeah.
Continually, bad news, bad news, bad news. And I was like, I don't think it has to be this way. I don't think we need to we're getting ourselves into a sort of doom loop here. And we need to break out of that. Because, and one of the prevailing hashtags at the very beginning was film is not dead, right? And I was like, it never was dead though. Why are we saying film is dead in any way? Just say film is alive.
Yeah.
Film is alive. That's fine.
Yeah, and I think looking from the side, your career or Japan Camera Hunter, for me, has been a series of, is trailblazing the right word in English?
Yeah, trailblazing. Yeah. That's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah. So with, like, in terms of, again, the blog, then some social medias, then turning the social media into a commercial thing, in a sense, by the StreetPan, and I guess it wasn't the only kind of reason, but basically doing a new film, or a custom branded film.
Yeah. So I did these things early, I guess. Not always to a great, when you do things early before people, it becomes a lot harder for people to accept that you've done them. So there's a far higher chance for failure. I did the film cases.
Oh, that was the first one.
That was the first thing. Right, because Fujifilm had stopped making them, and I was like, that sucked. I don't want that to stop. So I made them. I found the factory that made them for Fujifilm, and I paid to have molds made, and I started manufacturing them again, and then I started making my own versions, and that led to the film. But that was the first thing that somebody had made an accessory. Nobody was making accessories for film. Nobody.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody was making accessories for new digital cameras. And I knew this from working for, previously, I'd worked for a camera supply company. And they were transitioning into everything digital. So every accessory that was coming up was hot shoe mount things for flashes and blah, 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 but it was all for digital.
Yeah, and it was all marketed for digital. That's, I think, like, of course, there was, the old names were still probably doing their film lead bags, not. But
so Donkey was making lead bags, Hacker was making lead bags, and I was selling them, on the site. But I thought, I've got to make this. I've got to make something to show I'm here. And I put, hubris and whatever. I put my name on the bottom. Right. But also, I wanted it to be made in Japan. That was a really big deal for me. I want made in Japan to be a thing that I was promoting and representing. And showing the quality, and so these were a huge success, like a surprising success, especially considering the price, because they cost me so much to make. When I first sold them, I sold them at 1,000 yen, and I never changed that price. I mean, it was stayed about the same. But when I first made them at that price, it was high, and I will admit that, because I had molds to pay for. And but people still bought them. People still bought them. Some people went, but they bought them in the end. And so I made over 100 and something thousand of these.
Wow.
And that led to, so that got me the taste for a project.
Yes.
I was like, I can can do things.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I can
want to do
I can
things.
spread things.
Exactly. I want to do things, and I want to spread, and I want to share this that I love with everybody, and get everybody excited about this that I love.
And I think then the film was kind of natural. You bumped to someone somewhere,
Yeah.
and then it found its way. Then after the film, there was obviously we met,
Yes.
and then there was we launched the camera rescue project. You were at the launch party.
Yes.
And you were talking about rescuing cameras.
Yes.
So you were also the first one to talk about making a new camera.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I was. That was something that I'd had in the back of my mind for a little while. And I worked with people in the industry through my prior job. So I kind of had an inkling of what would be possible. Kind of. But not that much, because when I actually sat down and I looked at it, you know, because we did the announcement. But I wasn't going into it blind.
Yeah.
That announcement, I'd already been speaking. I'd had the idea, or I had been speaking to a designer, and we'd been working on some stuff, some product ideas. So we actually had product ideas of kind of criteria that we wanted. And you know, when I came to Finland, we went and visited a few people and places to see viability of, for example, you know, manufacture of the body, manufacture of the lens block, the you know, so on and so forth. And then I got, I guess, a case of hubris, and I got all gassed up because you were doing this exciting announcement. And I'm like, I want to do an announcement.
Oh,
you know.
okay.
Well, no, not. I mean, it wasn't that, but
Yeah.
you know, I got a bit. I think I ran before I could walk.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really aware of quite how involved a project like that would be, and not just involved, but how expensive it would be.
Yeah, and of course it might have been again maybe 3 years early or 4 years early.
And this was the thing. I think when I announced it, some people, a lot of people, in fact, I mean, I did get an awful lot of correspondence from amazing people, very talented, intelligent people, far more intelligent than myself, who were able to engineer the optics and engineer the body and do microelectronics and things like this. But there wasn't any cohesion. You know, they worked there, they worked there, they worked there. As you say, it wasn't ready. The market wasn't ready. Big investors weren't prepared to step in, and that was where I think my biggest stumbling block was. Like, because we said, we can do this here, we can make this here. This is how much it's going to cost. This is how much we'll need, and we just couldn't get investors.
Yeah, and I think part of it was also the price point of compact cameras back then.
Yeah.
Because I assume that even the highest T3 was almost like $1,000 or something.
The T3 was like $900.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and now it's like $3,500.
Yes.
4,000. So there was the market for it, but not in the same way that there is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And,
for sure. It was just emerging.
Yeah, and like the price point it needs to be to sell.
Yep.
Has gone from, then it needed to be like 250, 300, something like kind of, at least for the mass market version. And now 500, well,
500, 750, $1,000, you know, because people will pay $1,000 for a 25-year-old camera.
Yeah.
So they're going to pay $1,000 for a new camera, you know. So yes, there was some stumbling blocks, and but I got in there early, you know, and I really tried to make it work, and I was very adamant that I'm not going to ask for anybody's money.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do it on my own. And I did it on my own until I ran out of money. I spent my savings going around speaking to, I went to Germany to speak to a manufacturer there, well, more than one, several manufacturers there. Spoke to manufacturers in Finland, went to the US, spoke to manufacturers there, you know, spoke to a lens designer, had a lens block designed, you know, and spending all of this money, but nothing's coming in.
Yeah.
No investors giving me anything to work with. And in the end, I just had exhausted my funds. and couldn't jeopardize JCH.
Yeah.
You know, I still need a business. I still need to run it. So
Yeah. And of course, like maybe everyone online don't understand, because online is a bit of a problem, that something might be huge online, but in reality it's one man.
So there was definite impression of that. I started getting mails from people saying, "Hey, can we speak to your design manager? Can we speak to the team? Who's your HR?" Somebody was like, "Hey, this, like, for an order from the shop, like, hey, this hasn't shipped yet. I need to speak to your customer service department." I was like, "You're speaking to it. It's me. It's me."
Yeah.
There was an impression that JCH was much bigger than it was.
Yeah.
Which didn't help.
No, it raises the expectations for people, and obviously running anything alone or even with a team of 2 or 3, it makes life difficult. And I guess that's part of, if there was the rise, then hit the
that
fall.
was part of the fall as well, because, you know, I'm trying to do it all myself, and it's just not viable, you know, because I've got JCH, and I'm still selling cameras and still writing a blog and a website, and I'm still traveling for the job, and you know, it's too much for one person to take on, even if you do have the superpower ADHD. You still can't take it all on. So it became a bit much. It was after that that I actually got staff. Because I was like,
I remember when you were in Finland, and that was 2017. And basically you had to take a break in the morning to answer emails, because you got like 200 emails a day. We were back then maybe like a 10-12 people shop, and you got triple the amount of emails than we did, or quadrupled the amount of, and then you answered them all yourself. So it's just a lot of balls kind of to...
it was, I had too many plates in the air, not enough arms, and eventually it's going to come crashing down, and it did. I had to abandon the project. I had no choice. You know, I realized I couldn't do it, which made me sad. But at the same time, I bowed out, and I felt like I bowed out gracefully. There was some, you know, talk online about, you know, because people love to say mean things, and there was plenty of mean things said. But I did point out, hey, I never took any of your money, so
I
know,
mean,
I did the best I could do, and what I did was open to conversation.
Yeah, and I think both Gary from Rollei 35 has said that that the conversation you started was, or I guess we also were in it somehow in Photokina. So he said that it inspired him to go for it. It took him 3-4 years, and
I have the note from Gary to say thank you.
Okay, awesome. And then even with TKO, when he visited the first times Finland or Paris, actually, I met him, and he was gorging that is there a need for a film camera. Even then he referenced that. So the Pentax 17 has some there.
There's a little bit of a connection,
and then Lomography's new camera is basically exactly what was in the plan.
So basically, like, I looked at Lomo and went, that's what I was gonna make. You know, like, wait a minute. You know, I'm not saying they stole the design, not at all, but there was like, that's the camera I was gonna make. That's almost exactly the camera I was gonna make.
And in my point of view, that's something that the community kind of needs to understand, that was partly your role, and that there is a certain amount of thankfulness from the community that is good to be, because of course there's some goodwill, because there's, of course, I think during the fall there was also a lot of internet not so
there was
pleasant.
a lot of negativity. So, you know, afterwards that came down. I also worked on another project, and I'd been working on multiple projects at that time. I'd been advising on, you know, people's scanner ideas, and they're, you know, developing home box things, ideas, and and always just helping. And probably should have been paid as a consultant, but I was just like, no, I'll do it for free. I want everybody to succeed because rising tide raises all ships. If everybody's doing well, that's good for all of us. I even suggested that we, Kodak and all of these companies have a sit down. They kind of laughed at me like, "Who are you?" I was doing the JCH projects, and I was doing custom things, and I was doing all of this, and I worked on another. I'd done the StreetPan around that time. Around that time, I released StreetPan, which had been a real success as well. So I was trying to do that too. And then I started working. Then I did get an investor. Then I did have, but they weren't interested in the film camera thing. They wanted to make a film, which was a film project we worked on. I'm sure some of your viewers know about it. Ultimately, that didn't come around due to some legal finagling and things going on. And that it kind of made me hit a wall a little bit. I think everything happened at once. Suddenly, you can't keep on doing.
And then of course, Corona kind of hits almost the same time.
So we did Photokina.
2018.
We did Photokina, and I'd been at Photokina for a few reasons. And one of them was to speak with manufacturers about the film camera project. Another one was to sell StreetPan and to do the Kasha cameras, and things like that, and promote that. Because I felt like, and this was, grab this. This was fun because I felt like, well, if I can't make a film camera right now, if I can't make the one I want, at least I'm going to make a disposable. Which I did before everybody else did.
Again, 3 years before everyone
3
else.
years before everybody else. So
and I remember that, my head thinking, a disposable camera? How 2004 are you?
But this was the thing, So exactly, everybody's reaction was like, "Dude, what?" And I had people calling me an earth rapist and things like this, and. Wow. Okay, man. It's a disposable camera. I mean, but we did it, and we were really, really proud of it, and we couldn't sell it. Nobody would buy it. Like when I first released it, everybody was like, as you say, how 2004 of we don't want that. 6 months, 8 months later, we've finally sold them all, and suddenly everybody's like, hey, have you got 100 of these, 200 of them? But they've all gone now.
And I don't know even if there were that many black and white disposables.
There was only the Ilford.
Ilfords,
was the only one.
But Kodak has come out with
so now you go and there's 100 different versions. But we were the first. We were the first. And we were really proud of this as well because we felt like we made fun of ourselves with it. We never took ourselves too seriously. And so. Do not pass the Van Allen belt. As the warnings, do not upskirt. No, do not give to macaques. And if you don't know now, you know. And things like there was on the inside it said the roll said finished and things like that. There were little jokes, always little jokes in there. Little jokes. When I first started selling these, I would print out like 100 little pictures of Nicolas Cage, and I'd stick them in each film case, and I'd get mails from people going, "Dude, there's something wrong with you. You're weird." But we always felt like this should be fun. This should always be fun.
And I think at the same time, there was a bit of an issue with Japanese camera prices just before Corona. So I don't know what happened here, but I remember visiting 2019, and I like all the prices in Tokyo were 20, 30, 40% more than Europe.
They were really high.
Which obviously your main business of I don't know if it's a main business at that point.
It was main business, and prior to COVID, it became actually quite difficult to sell cameras. We watched things kind of go down. But we weren't so worried because we were working on other projects as well. We had the StreetPan and we had film projects and things we were doing. So, and we still had a very steady amount of custom cameras and repairs.
Yeah.
Then COVID comes along and flips things around because suddenly there's nothing available in the US and everybody wants Japanese cameras. And that was nuts. We couldn't keep up. Especially because Japan was closed. Like for 2 years, the doors were closed, so nobody could come.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted something. It was at first when COVID first hit, I'm like, oh, this is it. This is the end. My business is entirely online. This is the end. Within 3-4 weeks of people realizing, hey, I'm going to be at home all the time watching YouTube. We started the YouTube channel, and it just it just went bonkers again. The second time around and that's again me getting, and I had staff at that point. I had people working for me to do admin, and I had Michael doing the designing and a lot of the web stuff and the video stuff. Even them couldn't cope. I was still in the 200 mails a day or 100 mails a day range, Now I'm much more happy with my 25 to 50 mails a day.
Yes.
I can deal with this.
Yes.
But yeah, there was a lot going on, and it was exciting. I was a younger man. I was also a little bit naive, I think, and I again tried to take too much on. I had a fear of saying no to projects and suggestions. I had a fear of maybe missing out on something if I didn't be involved in some way. And now, as I'm older, I feel like I don't need to be involved with everything. And I think I've done an important part, and I've played a part in this community.
Yeah.
So I can sort of, when I wrote my book, I kind of gave me a bit more pause. Like,
when
wow,
was
I've been doing
when
this
was
for,
that?
It's about 2-3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I sat down and went, I've done quite a lot, actually. Because I had to go through a lot of the older stuff and the older images and what I've been up to. And it kind of made me reminisce a little bit, and go, yeah, you know what? I should probably take my foot off the gas. And I had a health scare at that time as well, which made me really, okay, I need to take it a bit more easy. So I stopped saying yes to everything. I did say yes to this though.
Okay.
It was good.
And I think that's again, if we go rise, fall, and now resurrection is too big of a word, but
I think
like
it's not a phoenix rising from the ashes or anything. It's just perhaps reawakening.
Yeah, going back to the roots.
Yes,
maybe.
So definitely going back to the roots. I really did feel that way. So a few things happened in the last, I'd say, 3 years. When I started writing this book, actually, 2 of my staff had to leave because they moved on to different things, and I'm really happy for them where they've gone. But it was also like I'd lost a limb almost, because they weren't just staff; they were friends, and I felt like I lost a really important creative process, which led me to feel a little down a little bit and not as focused, because I also lost skills. Video people who are good at editing, people who are good at designing, and I'm not. That's not my forte. And suddenly I'm having to take on their work, which is 3 people's work, 4 people's work. And I thought, I'm getting back into that, doing everything again. I can't do this, So I stopped trying to chase that and scaled back and went, okay, I can make a video, but it's not going to be as polished. But that's fine. It doesn't matter, because people want to hear what I have to say rather than see shiny, fancy editing and slick lighting, and they don't give a crap. They just want to hear what I'm talking about. And so they left, and at the same time, I had an accident on my bike. I was pushing really hard. As you saw, I got quite slim.
Yeah, the bio book photo is a very thin Bellamy.
I got very thin. I was riding a lot and I was really proud, but I was again pushing myself too hard, which is the thing I did, and I pushed really hard, and I had an accident, which led me to a period of not being able to give my full at work. And then we also had some issues with products. I had to stop making StreetPan. I the manufacturer raised the prices, and it got to the point with the price rise that I mean, it was never making me money anyway. It was always about PR. The StreetPan was just about trying to show people, yes, it can be done. Go out there and do it. And people would say, "Oh, you sell it for so much." I don't sell it for so much. They sell it for so much. I don't get any of that. You know, like I'm not rolling in it.
Yeah.
I get free film. That's pretty much the perk.
Yeah.
And as well, you know,
Yeah.
dealing with film, it's not profitable, especially in a smaller. When you make smaller amounts. I wasn't making 100,000 rolls.
Yeah, black and white is quite a niche always.
A niche thing, and you know, once the price rises got to a certain point, and COVID didn't help because the supply chain meant that you would place an order and you'd get it almost a year later, 8 months to a year, because the supply chain was so slow. But you've paid all of this money.
Oh,
and you
wow.
haven't got any product for 8 months, which really hurts.
Oh, and that, well, I don't, yeah, cash flow.
Cash flow becomes a real issue.
Yeah.
But also the exchange rate changes during that period, right?
Yeah.
So you go from, oh, I paid this much for it, to I'm never going to get any of that back.
Yeah, wow.
Brilliant, you know. And then you get, as soon as you've received that order, they're like, okay, so what's the next order? And you're like, I've got no money. I haven't sold anything. You know, you're going to have to hold on. And, you know, price rises went up and up and up. And I'd always said, I'm not going to raise the price on the film. I'm going to hold off as long as possible. I'm not going to be a Kodak or whatever and raise it every year. But it became unviable. And I had to say, look, while I love StreetPan and I loved what I did, at the same time, there's plenty of other good black and white film options there. And if I raise the price the way I'm going to have to, nobody's going to pay that for a roll of black and white film, not even for a fancy primo roll.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is now,
Yeah.
yes, they would.
Yes.
Now they would.
Yeah.
But 3-4 years ago,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it's so in the end, I had to say, well, you know, I mean, I don't want to stop, but I had to stop, and that hurt me a little inside.
Yes.
You know, I felt like I've kind of failed here. You know, and it coincided terrible timing with the company that makes the film cases for me. They went bust. Well, they didn't go bust. They retired.
Okay. Wow.
So basically, it was a bunch of old guys, as it always is here.
Yeah.
They had an old factory that they were making this stuff in, and they said, you know, we're going to have to rebuild the factory, and it's just not worth it. We want to, retire. I said, well, can we have them made somewhere else? Can we send the molds somewhere else? Can I get the molds sent here and I'll hold on to them? They said, if we send the molds to your office, they will crash through the floor and kill all the people beneath you. Oh, okay, fine.
Those are some big molds.
Very big, very big. I had no idea. I'd never actually seen them. I just owned them.
Yeah.
And we tried to find a number of places. We spoke to a bunch of factories. None of them would take them on because it was either too small batch, because they wanted to make 100,000 pieces at a time or 200,000 pieces, or they would say, no, we're not using your molds. We make our own molds. We don't trust molds that are made by somebody else. They might damage our machinery. So I had to stop making the film cases, and that hit at the same time, and that made me just... You know, you get, like, because you've been doing all of these things, and then you kind of go, well, oh. But it, you know, I had a bit of time where I was not feeling great, and I spent a bit of time on myself. And with great love and thanks to my family and friends who were very patient with me going through what was clearly something that upset me quite a lot. I decided to, yeah, as you say, go back to my roots. And what I was good at, and what I am very good at, is selling cameras and finding cameras and sharing my passion about them
And connecting people.
and connecting people.
Going
Yeah.
Nokia.
Yes. 3310 is
Yes.
still the king. But connecting people. I would put people in touch with one another. I felt like that's still a really important
Yeah,
part.
I mean, roughly 10 years of 100 emails a day is almost 500,000 emails.
Oh God. Yeah,
So,
I've never really thought about it like
yeah,
that, but
so
yeah.
so you had many connections with many people around the world.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I never really thought about it that way until I was like, oh, this certain camera, like, for example, this camera popped up and I immediately was like, oh, I know somebody who would, and then
Yeah.
mailed them and then, oh, yeah, and I know somebody else who would be, and then I realized, like, oh, I do
Yeah.
have these connections, I do know these people.
And the benefit is that your brain connects these dots like
Yeah. So, and I've worked with so many over the years that I feel like, so now the next evolution for me is to, and I'm sure you've seen, I've talked to you about this, is to have the Japan Camera Hunter store.
Ooh.
Because I stayed away from it for years. I didn't want to, and I felt like I wasn't very good at face-to-face customer service until I realized, wait, that's what I did for my entire career until I was about 28 years old. I'm actually quite good at it.
Yeah.
I'm good at the whole selling.
Yeah, and it's a very different thing to do when it doesn't come from a place of pressure.
Yes.
Like if you can actually enjoy helping the customer.
Yes.
It
And not just that, you have the knowledge of what you know what you're talking about. You're not just selling something that you don't give a crap about. You actually love it and you want to share it. And I was taught very, very many years ago when I worked in an art gallery in Australia, you have to really love and you have to know what you're selling, and then you get the sales. And I was already an artist. I loved art. So I went out of my way to actually speak to the artists who had painted these pictures on the walls and asked them about them. So then I could sell them, and it got me the sales. And so that's a transferable skill into cameras and photography, which is something I love anyway. So for example, this camera comes in, and I'm like, right, I want to know absolutely everything about it, so then I can sell it.
Yeah.
Not because I want to sell it, but because I want to know.
Yeah.
And then passion is infectious.
Yeah,
right?
it is for sure.
So once you start, and so I felt like now is the time. I don't want to be chasing those emails and running around all the time. I want it to come to me now. I felt like I've earned my time.
So that leads me to the conclusion that it's probably not just an online store.
No. So in the past, I kept everything online, and now yes, of course, there will still be the online store. Yes, of course, people will still mail me, and I will still reply to every single one of those emails. But now I want to have an actual physical space where people can come and see the cameras, talk to me, or talk to, if I have staff, I will have staff, talk to the staff, not just buy cameras, but books, learn about film photography, talk with people who are knowledgeable, meet other people perhaps from around here.
Yeah.
Photo workshops, photo walks, beers and cameras, coffee and cameras, cameras and watches, cameras and cars. There's 2 car parks next door. There's plenty of space. Nice. That's a thing. People who collect things, they don't just collect one thing. Generally,
and I think we are living in an age where physical community is gonna be very, very important just for the well-being of people. So going back to that has extra value.
Post-COVID, people really wanted that connection. I think that was really important. I wanted that connection. Also, Japan has changed. In the last few years, and I'm sure you've seen it, Japan has become less of a far-off, hard-to-access destination. The yen has become cheaper for people, to my detriment. it's become a destination that is accessible, and there's more and more people coming here. And I noticed I was getting a lot of people saying, hey, I want to buy that camera, but I want to pick it up from you.
Oh, awesome.
Or I want to come and see it in your office. And I thought, well, I don't want people coming in my office all the time, because
Yeah,
I've
that's
got work to do.
yeah.
But it would be kind of cool if they could come and pick their camera up, or could come and pick a camera from a nice showroomy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, as you say, you know, there's a lot of people coming here. People want that connection. I really feel like I don't want to be cooped in an office by myself for the rest of my career, because that doesn't lead to good things.
No,
you know,
no.
Especially if you find yourself terminally online.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I would very much like to meet more people, and I feel like now is the right time to have, and not just one. Now is the right time to start the JCH store project.
Yeah.
Because it will be a project.
Yes. Obviously, we're probably in the location that it will be.
This will be the location that it will begin.
Yeah.
And because I never do things that way. I never just go, oh, okay, this is it. I made it. I'm finished. This is what I'm gonna build.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got plans. I've already got plans in my head. You know, like I want a store here, and I want a store in London, and I want a store in New York, store in Hong Kong, and then I'm like, slow down.
Yes.
Let's get the store here going.
Yes.
And see where we can go from there, because I can't be in every single one of those.
Yes, and
I very much would love to be, but at the same time, I would really like it for people to have access to really nice stuff.
Yeah, and it's also just even having it work here is technically enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one thing. I mean, so here's the thing, right? The building we're in now, we've got this for 4 more years.
Yeah.
Before they're redeveloping the whole area. This is one of the final buildings standing, and so I figured, why not do 4 years in here, which gives us the chance to scope out how it works, and then from there go to a bigger, newer, shinier, whatever, as long as it works, you know, location. So it's quite an exciting time. I'm sure you noticed, I was not the happiest of people a couple of years back with everything going down, and now I feel like I've got something new to jump into.
Perfect.
And I'm excited again.
Okay.
I've got that's excitement again. It's come back.
So it is a bit of a phoenix, at least in terms of the passion.
Yes. I mean, the passion for the cameras never went away. The passion for the work waned a little bit. You know, I mean, I had a period of illness which really shocked me. I was not expecting. I thought, just get a little bit sick and it'll be fine. You just pick yourself up. No, and it really knocked me on my back and made me go, "Oh, you're not 30 anymore. You know, you can't do these things. You need to have a good night's sleep, and you can't drink that much, and you can't stop smoking, and all of these things. You know, which I did. Yeah, I did, and now I feel in a much better place to make this happen.
Yeah, and I think the store here will, well, once you'll see this video, go to Japan Camera Hunter website and see what's the newest on the project.
Well, so we haven't put any of the project online.
Yes.
It's all just been people we're talking to. I'm not going to give an exact timeline.
Yes.
Because we're still working on things.
And I don't know when I will edit this video.
Exactly.
Either,
so we're still working on things. It will be this year.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Later on this year, because we're already into March.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh. We're already in March.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Okay. So it kind of moves very quickly.
Yeah.
But the plan is for later Q3, Q4 this year to have an opening. And initially, I mean, I've got stock and I've got stuff, but not enough.
Yeah.
Not even close. Not to what I want.
Do you have an email newsletter?
Yes, I do have a newsletter
Okay.
on the site, which if you go to the site, it's on the front page. There's
Yeah.
a link for it. Information will be in there. Bear in mind, please be patient because I don't
Yeah.
update the
Yeah.
newsletter that often.
I know, but you will update it once you.
I will update it absolutely
once
and the website will also have it
Yeah.
on there. So the website's overdue for an upgrade
Yeah.
anyway, and the way people have consuming media now has changed.
Yeah.
Right. So the website is always going to be there. The Japan Camera Hunter blog, all of that stuff will always be there. If people want to
The
access,
archive.
it'll be archive, but it's going to be a more commercial website because
Like a store
it's
webshop.
a store website.
Yeah.
You know, because we are a business at the end of the day. So we'll have the Japan Camera Hunter and then Japan Camera Hunter store, and that
Yeah.
will be two separate things. But we will, the information will be posted there, and of course on social media.
Yeah, of course.
But there is a newsletter, and I do update it. But bear in mind, it's just me.
Yeah, yeah,
right
I know.
So I'm doing my best.
Yes.
And there's a lot to get through. There's a lot to plan. There's a lot of legal stuff.
I can imagine in Japan.
Reform stuff, and it all costs money, and it all takes time. And you speak to a builder, and they go,
Yeah.
so this is the thing, right? It's universal. You go around the world and you speak to a builder. They've got a pencil behind your ear, and if they do this, you go, oh god, it's going to be expensive. And they do it in Japan too.
Yes.
It's completely universal. So and then they go 3 months. Come on, 3 months to what? Get some wood. You're growing it.
Well, we just renovated our store in Stockholm, and it took us 6 months more than supposed to.
Yeah,
so I know the pain.
It runs over schedule.
Yeah.
And obviously this costs money too. So I've got my money I've got to spend, and I've only just kind of got myself back from some of the projects which cost me a fortune. So please come and buy a camera. That would be really helpful in me having a store. Please, please, pretty please. But also, I've got banks, investors, and so on and so forth. So we're going to try and make this go from strength to strength.
And to sum it up, I'm glad that you're back.
Thank you so much. And I'm really glad that you came by as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, that's my last day in Tokyo after a fair trip to CP Plus, and I'm gutted, haven't slept all week. So,
I know you're completely exhausted, rinsed out. So I really appreciate you coming by, and it's so good to see because what you've done, and I think some people kind of expected me to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And to be in that position where 10 years down the line, I've got 2-3 stores, and I didn't because I wanted to do it my way.
Yeah.
Which wasn't necessarily the right way.
And you also again I need to give credit where it's due. Like if it would have been just me and my properties, there wouldn't have been that. You need an extended team that have different skill sets.
Yes, exactly. And I think that is also a barrier here because I have to have a team that's bilingual. You have got Finns who are already bilingual because everybody has to be. Who speaks Finnish?
Yes.
Even the Finns but it was amazing to see when I went there because I met people who were like, yeah, I speak like 5 languages. I speak barely 2, but here it's a lot harder to find. People with skills, yes, you can find them, but people with skills who are bilingual, that's a bigger barrier.
Yeah.
So it takes me a bit more time. So if you are in Tokyo and you are interested, if you're watching this, in talking about the idea of working with JCH, perhaps in the future, please do drop me a line. I would be very interested to hear from you, especially if you do speak Japanese and English. And even another language would be a bonus, but Japanese and English, that would be great. So if you are watching...
Awesome. If they're watching still this point of the video, they actually know their stuff.
Yes. Listen to me waffle on. Yeah.
But it was a very good conversation. Thank you for having it. Thank you for the openness. I think the internet needs real openness and real people being real.
I appreciate that. I have been accused of perhaps being a bit too open in the past, but I felt like it was more important for me to be clear about what I do and be honest about what I do, rather than hide behind false platitudes or anything like that. So, and I've got a lot of support from some really wonderful people. So thank you to you, and thank you to everybody watching for putting up with me all these years. I really appreciate it.
And let's go back to the next one. Thank you for listening or watching, whatever you have done, and all the best for the shop and the future.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Now we press the right button so it